Okay, so we're going to kind of gather back as a collective group to the best of our ability. Some of the points that I hope that in your short conversation that you noticed about whichever passage you were looking at, whether it was One Lucky Fish or Living Off the Earth, the passages themselves are not that long. The task that the students are asked to write the essay is where the meat really is. It's really tearing that apart, if you will, and then figuring out as a writer, as a thinking writer, as an organized writer, how am I going to communicate what the task is asking. As far as the M-STEP scoring goes, it is truly scored in writing on that 4-point rubric. The rubric is consistent 3rd through 8th grade. So it's all the same rubric. What changes is the passage and the task, and then the level of complexity when we talk about a 3rd grade writer to an 8th grade writer. Okay? As you peruse through the rubric itself for the state of Michigan is very wordy. Very wordy. The Nebraska samples that I'm sharing with you are intentional because Michigan has used other states' work, passages and tasks to support Michigan's work, if you will. So Nebraska actually has, I think, one of the better usable sites for looking at passages, and I'll share that link with you as we move forward so that you have lots more resources to share and provide experience and exposure for your students, okay? The other point that needs to be made is that when you look at the scoring analysis, kind of look at one of the samples where there's the scoring analysis. How is the analysis put together? There's a numeric score, correct? But how is it described? If I could get any response from someone here live, that would be awesome. And if you're out there in one of the buildings, if you'll kind of share with each other. How is the analysis actually put together?
The first one?
Any of them.
Maybe it's a narrative.
It's a narrative, yes. It's actually a short narrative. Where are they lifting the language from for the analysis? Right from the rubric, okay? This, I think, is beneficial. This is experiences and work that our students are familiar, okay? They have familiarity with this is what the rubric is. When they get feedback from their peers and their classroom teachers, it comes from the rubric. So that part is common to what our students have more familiarity. So that's a good thing, okay? A couple of the other points that I hope that maybe you picked up on or that you will be able to as you move on. I provided the scoring analysis for the target of 3 and then one that is approaching that, right, that it's a 2. After reading many, many samples from the Nebraska site, one key piece of organization that I'll offer to all of you is around the organization of them writing their task-dependent analysis is paragraphing. So if that's not something that could, I should say, let me say it this way. If that's a place that you know your group of students right now, that would be a great place to go, okay? Doesn't have to be perfect paragraphing, but most of the time, the student samples, the scoring, if they were approaching, there was usually a comment, much more about the organization of the essay and a lot less about the conventions, okay? So the conventions really, if they only in a minor way interfere, they're not going to be docked down in regards to points, okay? Even for a student to earn a 4 on the rubric, it does not necessarily mean that it has to be error-free, okay? Now, I'm always one of those classroom teachers that if you're going to earn above and beyond, it's going to be error-free. So depending on how that works, but the way the state scores it, or the ones that have been scored as samples, there can be minor errors and students can still be deemed proficient. But it's about the content and the organization. So that can be a charge for us. That can be opportunities for where we might go next with mini lessons. Okay? Oh, I have a clicker. Hang on.
Pam,
Yes.
are they going to be given an amount of words or characters? Or?
No, There will not be, someone asked here, will the students be given an amount of words or a limit to words? The answer to that right now is no. The box will continue to grow as they write. But I do think it's important as we share samples with students that there is a limit, right? This is not about every little detail to include in their writing, okay? And for some of our students, that will come something that they'll do well with, and some of our other students, we're going to need to work with them a little bit more to be more concise. So as we now look at the next group of samples, the one lucky fish, that's a literary piece, okay? And what I want you to look at together with me is the one that says a shared piece, the one that says a shared, it should be a single piece of paper. At the top it says one lucky fish, a shared text-dependent analysis. Do I not have that? I'm out of them here. That's okay. Do we not have that here, the shared one?
I have one from Mason.
Hmm. We have a problem with the shared coming from those folks. Do you folks have the shared one, yes or no? Can I get a thumbs up if you have the shared piece? Thumbs up, thumbs up.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Okay. The reason I want you to look at the shared piece, thank you, is at the ELA Leaders, we actually took one lucky fish, read it independently for the first read, went back and annotated independently, and then we came together in a small group and we actually composed the text-dependent analysis with one lucky fish, okay, as adults, as educators, to see how tricky is this task, okay? So if you will you kind of read through that particular sample, okay, and then we gave ourselves the charge to say, okay, how would we score it? Did we meet the mark? And the first draft, we came up a little short. And it wasn't with organization. We had discussion about, with the one lucky fish, as to whether we were actually addressing the task. Christy, will you read the task for the one lucky fish?
On the following pages of your test booklet are passages and questions for the Grade 4 Nebraska State Assessment English Language Arts. Read these directions carefully before beginning the test. This test will include several different types of questions.
No, go to the...
after the passage.
Yep, after the passage of one lucky fish.
Sorry.
And you'll note, folks, that I gave you the text-dependent analysis questions, or the text questions. It's on page 10, and it's question number 9. That's the TDA.
The theme of One Lucky Fish is the importance of Greg's relationship with his fish, Finn. Explain how key details in the story support this theme. Write a well-organized response using specific evidence from the story to support your answer.
So if this was in the Michigan M-STEP, the response would be essay, but noting that the importance of the relationship between Greg and his fish, and then the word theme. So that's where the thinking has to be. So if you'll read One Lucky Fish and annotate for yourself, thinking of where are those key ideas and details that you would pull out as your evidence for the importance of the relationship, okay? Let's take about 2 or 3 minutes to be able to do that. So reading One Lucky Fish, looking for your evidence for the positive relationship, or was it all positive?